the planner has already initiated the sacrificial ritual, and the demon clan's fate is approaching. The mortal realm. This matter may have already alerted the heavenly realm. If it continues, I fear. However, the respected one said, continue. He left a sentence before disappearing, leave the follow-up matters to the demon lord. In the mortal realm, the true demon has already been arranged by me. He will go and find that true demon. Xian Qingjun was stunned, raising his head and asking, what about me? The respected one answered, ascend as soon as possible. Xian Qingjun's body slightly trembled, and he responded, yes. Xian Qingjun remembered Han Ju's indifferent expression, and his eyes were filled with sorrow. 10 years after the hard cultivation of the Qing Mountain Yuling sacred sect, the demon emperor's planner died, and the snow had covered the mountains and forests. Han Ju was still in the process of cultivation, having already reached the 2nd level of the Great Ascension and the 9th level. Perfection of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. The 6 paths of reincarnation technique had reached the 9th level, allowing him to absorb the essence of the sun and moon upward and gather the spiritual energy of the 9 underworlds downward. The 8th level of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique contained the power of the reincarnation gate, which allowed entry into the underworld, to absorb souls, and to enter the 6 paths of reincarnation. Previously, Han Ju had not yet explored this gate due to insufficient cultivation, but now the gate was gradually opening. Han Ju thought, now that the 6 paths of reincarnation is perfected, it's the right time to go down and see. A surge of spiritual energy descended, and the underworld flowers bloomed below. Han Ju appeared in the darkness. He stood amidst a cluster of fiery red underworld flowers and muttered, it seems the reincarnation gate is indeed connected to the underworld. Han Ju walked forward, reaching a hanging bridge spanning across a river. He looked down at the pitch-black river water. This black water is truly strange, it can dissolve divine consciousness. Han Ju stared at the water's surface. Could this be the legendary river of the Yellow Springs? There are many unknowns, and things are still unfolding. It's best not to act recklessly. Han Ju continued crossing one hanging bridge after another, his thoughts constantly turning, but his divine sense could not sense the surrounding space. Where did I come from, and where should I go? Moreover, this bridge network is tangled and endless, which one should I cross? Countless strange souls appeared under the river. Han Ju was startled, souls? Suddenly, Han Ju saw light at the end of the bridge, and he froze. When did the underworld have light? Is that the exit of the reincarnation gate? Are they trying to lead me out? Something suddenly caught Han Ju's attention. In front of a small stall, many souls were lining up. Wait, there's someone over there. It was a simple, humble stall. Someone poured a green liquid into a cup, then handed it to a soul outside, who took the cup and drank it. After drinking, the soul returned the cup and then flew a little further ahead before disappearing. Han Ju was stunned, the soul disappeared? He was startled, looking up towards a higher point. At that moment, Han Ju saw 3 characters written above, cross the Neha River. His heart trembled. Cross the Neha River? Am I not supposed to be reincarnated? Why am I on the Neha River? I need to leave quickly, quickly. However, as soon as this thought crossed his mind, Han Ju felt a terrifying pressure that made him unable to move. Han Ju's body immediately cracked open. A huge woman suddenly appeared behind him, blocking his way, and asked, before the cycle of life and death, do you wish to turn back? Han Ju was startled and recognized her, Mengpa. His eyes were filled with bloodshot veins. An existence that can control the underworld's reincarnation cannot be touched. Han Ju tried hard to look back, but in the end, he only saw. From Han Ju's perspective, he only saw a huge woman, wearing a hat adorned with underworld flowers. Her face was covered by the brim, making it unclear. Han Ju's eyes immediately released spiritual energy. Let's go for broke. Han Ju made up his mind, I can't let her notice me. He then immediately activated his Great Ascension level spiritual energy to self-destruct. The underworld flowers were tossed in the wind. The hanging bridge couldn't support itself, and even the stone slab engraved with the words "Cross the MANHWA River" was affected. However, MANHWA gently extended a finger, stopping in front of Hanju's spiritual energy ball, and uttered a single word: freeze. At the moment the spiritual energy was about to explode, it suddenly stopped. Then she said, shatter, and the spiritual energy ball immediately exploded, leaving nothing behind. The self-destruction failed. MANHWA secretly laughed. Interesting, I was wondering why he was so decisive. Turns out it's just a puppet technique. MANHWA set the broken pieces down. It's a pity this divine skill has been lost for over 100 years. It was the only technique capable of countering the great Luo. What kind of background does he have? At this moment, the door slowly closed. Hanju exerted all his strength with one hand, trying to close the crack in the celestial pool's great ascension realm, but he was suppressed to the point of being unable to move. What kind of realm is she in? Even the Taoist of the absolute realm doesn't have this kind of suppression. Thankfully, my main body didn't enter. Hanju touched the floor with one hand and only then realized something unusual. Everything in the room had been frozen. Hanju looked up and thought, just a bit of unowned power reaching my divine sense, and it can freeze everything. This underworld is not easy to enter. What if he uses his divine sense to lock my main body? Hanju frowned. I'm afraid he could kill me even through a world barrier. It's so hard to get out, and now this happens. Even with great ascension cultivation, it's still not enough. This life might be the last time I can leave. Hanju was deep in thought and didn't notice that he was drenched in sweat. It's so hot today. The room is frozen, but the air is so dry and hot. At that moment, Tiandi Chao rushed in from outside, shouting loudly, "Master, Master." Her face was pale, and she urgently said, "Something bad has happened. The two suns are about to fall." Hanju frowned. What? Outside, the two extra suns had grown several times larger, indicating they were approaching the mortal realm. Hanju looked at the enormous suns in the sky, and the plants below were almost burned to nothing. The two golden crows had already decided to enter the mortal world. Lu Chang'an narrowed his eyes, standing in front of the black-eyed rooster, and said, "You dug the hole, you fill it yourself." Tiandong also joined in, trying to scare the black-eyed rooster. Get ready to sprinkle 1,000 pounds of ginger in the sky and pee. Watching the two enormous suns getting closer, Hanju understood, it seems those two golden crows are really determined to enter the mortal realm. As the two golden crows approached, the heat wave had already triggered a forest fire, causing all the animals to scatter. The commander shouted, and several people immediately cast spells, using mouthfuls of water to put out the fire. Team 3, move up, Team 4 follow closely. All the crops had withered and turned black. Tiandong, Morongqi, and Lu Chang'an irritably pushed the black-eyed rooster out, with Tiandong shouting, "Look at the mess you've made. The spiritual food Chang'an worked so hard to grow has been burned." Lu Chang'an shouted, "Just sacrifice him to the heavens." Hanju stepped outside to observe. If these two are truly allowed into the Jade Clear sacred sect, they might be wiped out. Hanju approached the two golden crows in the sky. The demonic path is marching quietly, and soon these two beasts will come rushing to their deaths. Do they really treat the barrier of the mortal realm as a decoration? But when he got closer, Hanju was startled. He saw a crack in the barrier. When did this crack appear? Hanju stared at the crack. Did the golden crows come because they found the crack? Before Hanju could think it through, the two golden crows squeezed through the crack and headed towards the mortal realm. They went in. Morongqi poured a bucket of water over the black-eyed crane's head and said, "I'm afraid it's too late, it's better to roast it directly than soak it." The village chief shook his head, "No need to roast, the golden crows will handle it themselves." The workers suddenly realized, damn, the sky is falling. It's over, should we water the crops? Hanju raised his middle finger again, his expression serious. Should he use the heaven and earth mystic yellow breaking barrier sword finger? Just then, the system announcement board sounded a notification, drawing his attention. If one has bad luck by nature, should they check its source? The board read, Divine Gold Ship Status. The 7th level of the Great Ascension Realm was abandoned by the Golden Horse God clan due to poor aptitude. After sensing the Fuso tree's aura, it grew stronger and deliberately entered the mortal realm. The demon clan disrupted the heavenly way's luck, and these 2 small golden horses found an opportunity to grow stronger and charged into the mortal realm. While charging towards the golden crows, Hanju thought, could it be the influence of the heavenly luck that weakened the barrier's power? No wonder they were abandoned by the Golden Crow God clan. It seems that even if I kill them, I won't be directly retaliated against. But if I act now, what if my luck is bad and I still face retaliation? Forget it, that clan must have an extremely strong sense of pride. Killing them might still lead to resentment. If I can't kill them, retreating is impossible. So all that's left is. Hanju grew anxious in his heart and released his spiritual power forcefully, clasping his hands together in a pose. I can't be stopped by just the sun's true fire. Hanju withdrew his hands and prepared to strike. Since you're here, let me try the move I've forgotten for many years. Accept this attack. Hanju used the 9-dragon demon banishment seal, piercing through the golden crow's shield. He shouted, catch them. At this moment, Hanju saw something and froze for a moment. Meanwhile, the black-eyed crane was holding its face awkwardly and saying, I don't want to, my meat isn't tasty at all, I'm definitely not lying to you. While shouting, it suddenly quieted down. It looked up at the sky, the 2 suns are gone, where did they go? In the sky, Hanju also saw the crack in the barrier closing. The crack immediately restored itself, and Hanju thought, is this the heaven's way repairing the flaw? That's quick, it seems the mortal realm has escaped disaster this time. Hanju silently thought, and just then, someone approached from behind. Ji Xianxin asked, where are the 2 sons? Hanju calmly replied, I drove them away. Ji Xianxin continued, was it you who acted just now? Hanju knew there was no escaping it and nodded, admitting, it was me. Ji Xianxin sat on a flying fish, crossing his arms in dissatisfaction and said, since that's the case, was it you who killed the demon emperor? Ji Xianxin then showed a smug expression, pointing at Hanju's face and saying, the spiritual energy just now was incredibly domineering, like the energy used to summon demons on an altar. It was you, wasn't it? Don't try to deny it. He frowned and said, once I say it, my life will be hard to return to peace, being the number 1 in the world is your matter. Ji Tianxin blushed and muttered, number 1 in the world. He looked at Hanju's back, embarrassed to the point where his head turned red, this is your chance to become famous, how could it? Hanju slightly turned his head and said, I cultivate for immortality, not for fame or profit, that's all. Ji Tianxin sat in the air on the fish's head, dazed, focus on cultivation, not fighting for fame and profit? Ji Tianxin's thoughts ran like a typewriter, do I pursue these things? The biggest difference between him and me might be this. The path to becoming the strongest is like this. The answer may be right in front of us, but everyone's realm is different. So we cannot perceive it. I have always been competing against unbeatable opponents, conquering the world and ascending to the divine position, but compared to him, I seem so shallow. Ji Tianxin fell into deep thought, I understand now. At this moment, the system reminded again, Ji Tianxin's favorability towards you has increased, now at 3 stars. Hanju was speechless, it can actually increase favorability? At this time, Murongqi and the others walked out, their eyes sparkling as they asked, Master, has the sun returned to normal? Were the golden crows eliminated? Hanju explained while walking with his hands behind his back, the Golden Crow clan is a celestial god clan, how? Could it be said that they can be killed just like that? Murongqi immediately asked, then what about them? The black-eyed chicken interjected, it seems the golden crows have gone home, finally, the master can sleep peacefully. Hanju's expression darkened, and he coldly waved his sleeve, they can't go back. This is the chaos robe, which can hold all things in the universe, yin and yang intertwining. The black-eyed chicken widened its eyes, cold and violent, its bloodline stirred, and its size uncontrollably fluctuated. 2 golden crows flew out of the sleeve, and the terrifying oppression made one feel the fear of death approaching. Golden crows. In the blink of an eye, the black-eyed chicken had fled to the fuso tree and was crying, "I don't want to." Its actions silenced everyone. Hanju said, "Little Black, you need to get used to this. In the future, the fuso tree will need you and the golden crows to guard it." The other disciples immediately lowered their heads and looked at the ground. Zunjiang and asked, "Is this the golden crow?" Tiandong was also shocked. "If not for that oppression, I would have thought the master caught the wrong thing." Tiandi Grass excitedly said, "The divine beasts are indeed different." Tiandong saw the 2 golden crows snuggling together like chicks and asked Hanju, "Master, why did you put so much effort into keeping these 2 pests?" Hanju said, "Let me explain. I kept them because the fuso tree will continue to attract divine beasts. For the stability of the mortal realm, it's best to have them comfort the fuso tree. Moreover, when you go out in the future, wouldn't it attract more attention if you ride the golden crows?" Hanju immediately made a threatening expression and said to the 2 golden crows, "I'll give you some time to think. If you're willing to acknowledge me as your master, stay on the mountain and cultivate hard, and you can survive." The eldest golden crow fearfully stammered, "Why should I stay here?" Hanju sneered, "You 2 have caused misery in the mortal realm. Do you still want to leave? Since you appeared, the weather has never cooled down. I've been cultivating in the scorching heat. Do you think that's easy?" Murongqi also followed the sect's tradition and threatened with Hanju's terrifying face, "Because you 2 dried a lot of spirit food not long ago. If you don't cooperate, you'll end up stewing mushrooms with the little chicken." Tiandong leaned closer and looked at them, showing his teeth and saying, "I say, if they don't agree, drag them to join the 79 group. The whole world wants to eat their meat and drink their blood." The 2 golden crows immediately knelt down and kowtowed, "Master, my sister and I are willing to submit." Hanju muttered, "This will do." Zunjiang asked him, "Master, how do we solve the problem of compensating the major sects for the spirit food?" Murongqi said, "The spirit food of all sects is gone. If we were to compensate, our sect would probably go bankrupt." Hanju coughed twice and raised his hand to make 6 seals, then said, "This matter cannot be publicized. Just pretend you don't know about it." The disciples immediately obeyed, understood. Hanju branded the 2 golden crows with a mark. "The sins you committed were already destined by fate. You are enemies of life and death. If you show up casually, you'll definitely be surrounded and attacked. From now on, stay on this mountain." The eldest golden crow asked, "What if they come here to fight?" Hanju answered, "Don't worry. Since you've submitted, you are now one of us. This mark will ensure your safety. Remember, while living on the mountain, you must not harm each other. Do you understand?" The 2 golden crows loudly answered, "Understood." The black-eyed chicken asked in confusion, "Master, Shiquan Fairy said these 2 are divine beasts, but they don't seem that strong." Tiandi Grass looked at it with disdain, "Aren't you ashamed? You were the first to run just now." Hanju softly said a highly lethal line, "Their strength is indeed ordinary, just the Great Ascension realm." The black-eyed chicken's round body trembled, Great Ascension realm?" Hanju again threatened the 2 golden crows, "In the future, you'll live with Little Black under the fuso tree. If you don't understand anything, just ask it." The 2 golden crows curled up and answered, "Understood." The black-eyed chicken cried out in despair, "Hanju, the master over there is at the Great Ascension stage. If you want to die with me, what if one day I feel like grinding my teeth and eating you?" Hanju disdainfully replied, "Who told you to bring them here?" He said solemnly, "From today onwards, you will stay with them and keep an eye on them for me." Zun Xiu, holding 2 golden crows, walked over to the maple tree and introduced, "This is the black-eyed chicken's pigsty." Then he turned around and pointed at the wooden house where Mu Rongqi and Tiandong were building, saying, "This is your new home. You need to get along well from now on." The black-eyed chicken couldn't hide its despair, crying and screaming, "It's over, it's over. The good days of the chicken family are gone forever." Tiandong couldn't bear to look at it and propped himself up, saying, "Think positively. At least the golden crows are